you to our performance of comedy Encore by the Tempe Library Readers Theater Group. This group was started 9 years ago on a grant that my predecessor got and I had to fulfill. But I'm very happy I had to because I have met some wonderful people through this group. We are very happy to have them here and have them performing, and their skits are really fun and they are delightful people. So we're thrilled to have them, and I just wanted to let you know I'll probably be taking some photos. If you don't want your face in a photo, I will ask first and you can let me know. I'm going to probably take them more from the back of the room, but I do have photo release forms, and if you do not want your photo taken, you just need to let me know. We just use these for like future publicity and that kind of thing. So I'm going to say without further ado, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jill. Those very kind words. I see the check cleared. Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you for coming out today. Our group, well, we're called Tempe Theatrical Readers, and our group meets right here every Friday at the Tempe Library. And we've been rehearsing a few skits. Now, these are stories, telling stories. So stories from history, fairy tales, fashion choices, and the spirit world. All stories. So let's start off with that story from history. We're taking a trip back to the American desert Southwest, the Old West, to a stretch of sand called Dusty Gulch. And we find Miss Lacey at work, owner and bartender at the Cactus Juice Saloon. Not many people stop at her establishment, but she's about to get a customer. New to town, a stranger, a cowboy drifter.
Well, howdy, ma'am.
Morning, cowboy.
What's new around these parts, ma'am?
Nothing much ever changes in Dusty Gulch, cowboy.
What's a feller got to do to get a drink in this here joint?
Well, for starters, he's got to ask for one. What do you have?
I guess I'll have me a drink of beer to wet my whistle. It gets mighty dry out there on the trail.
One beer coming right up, cowboy. Here's a nice cold one for you.
You can just call me Lefty, ma'am.
Okay, Lefty. Then I guess I'll have to pour your beer into a left-handed beer glass for you, won't I?
That's a good one, ma'am. Ah, this is darn good beer.
Well,
Sure hits the spot.
We aim to please.
Well, here I am, Lacey. How do you like my new costume? It just came in off the stage.
It's nice, Susanna. Our customers are going to like all those beads and fringe, but don't you think that long train jangling behind you is going to be dangerous to dance in?
Yes, the latest thing from New York City. Our customers are going to like all these beads and fringe. But who is this? Who is this tall, dark, and handsome stranger? Cindy cattle rancher from up Dallas way.
Not exactly. His name is Lefty, and he's fresh in from the trail. Lefty, meet Miss Susanna.
Well, howdy, ma'am.
Howdy, Lefty. Well, maybe you're not exactly fresh, but I bet you could clean up real nice.
Yeah, that's something I wanted to ask you about. Is there a place in this here town where a feller can get a haircut and a shave and a nice hot soapy tub bath?
Sure is. Right across the street there's a barber. He's got a tub and he'll scrub you up as clean as the day you were born. Even wash that shirt for you and shine them boots.
And I'll bet you clean up right good looking after you get all that trail dust off of you.
Ah, you bet I am, Miss Susanna, and I'll be the first to say that costume of yours sure makes you look like a queen and a lonesome cowboy's dream.
Well, it's not often a woman meets such a big talker here in Dusty Gulch, Lefty. Most of the men here just don't have any manners at all.
If you don't mind my saying so, ma'am, I feel like I done died and went to cowboy heaven. Finding me a saloon that sells cold beer and has an angel like yourself standing right close by.
Well, believe me, Lefty, this ain't heaven, and you haven't found no angel. Not by a long shot.
Well, I didn't mean no disrespect, Miss Lacey. It's just that when a lonesome cowboy sees a pretty woman like Miss Susanna here, his mind gets all wrapped up thinking sweet thoughts.
Now get this straight, Lefty. Our girls here at the Cactus Juice Saloon sing and they dance. And the only thing our customers get to wrap their hands around is a frosty glass of beer. You remember that now, Lefty.
You know, what she means, Lefty, is we only sing and dance on company time. And I don't start my show until later tonight, so that leaves me a few good hours to myself.
Susanna, don't you have to rehearse or something? Do you get my drift?
Oh, shoot! Oh, all right, boss lady. Lefty, is there anything special you'd like me to rehearse?
Just something a little bouncy, I guess.
Then how about a little something by Stephen Foster? For reasons of my own, I'm partial to Oh, Susanna. Do you like that one?
I sure do, Miss Susanna, and I bet he wrote it just for you.
Oh, there you go, sweet talking again. Oh, I come from Alabama with a banjo on me.
Good morning, Miss Lacey.
Morning, Sheriff Stoutheart. What do you have today?
Oh, the same as always. Cow's milk, please. And, who's that friend over there?
Oh, why, this here is Lefty.
I was just about to leave.
You ain't finished your beer yet, sir.
I just lost my thirst, so I'll be moving on now.
You lost your thirst? Well, I'll bet you're thinking of just riding out here, ain't you?
That's right, Sheriff. I'll just be riding out.
And will you be riding out on that Palomino stallion hitched out car?
Yep, that's my horse, all right.
You know, funny thing, Lefty, before I came in here, I saw that Palomino stallion of yours being led down the road by my deputy. I told the deputy to hitch that horse out front of the jail.
You took my horse? That makes you a horse thief, Sheriff. I have a mind to report you to the Texas Rangers. How'd you like that?
Just holding him for evidence, Lefty, just holding him for evidence.
Oh yeah, evidence of what?
Get him up, Lefty. How about a bank robbery? I just happened to look in the saddlebags before the deputy took the stallion away. There's gold from a bank robbery in there, Lefty, from Dry Creek. So you better come along with me, Lefty.
I ain't going nowhere with you, Sheriff. Now you raise your hands and we'll go over to the jail and get my horse.
Oh, I won't shoot it out with you, Miss Lacey's saloon. One of the ladies might get hurt, but you won't get away with this, Lefty. I'll be gunning for you.
Well, that's mighty nice of you, Sheriff Stoutheart. But now you raised your hands, Lefty. Don't paws on the sheriff. He gets away with it.
Thanks, Lacey. I knew I could count on you in a pinch.
No, you don't. No, you don't. Now, both of you get your hands up. Both of you get your hands up. That's right, you too, Sheriff. Get them up. Get them up.
Susanna, what on earth are you doing?
Put that gun down, Susanna. Miss Lacey's on the side of the law.
Don't listen to him, Miss Susanna. Lacey's just trying to impress the sheriff. I can tell she's sweet on him.
I've been waiting for an opportunity to leave this town for a very long time. And I fancy see this long, lank cowboy here.
Believe me, Miss Susanna, I sure do fancy you too.
Okay. Now, besides, do you think I like singing all those Stephen Foster songs every night? And who the heck would carry a banjo on his knee all the way from Louisiana? My gosh, on his knee!
Good grief, Susanna. Then sing whatever you want to sing.
Well, no. When a strong smelling, a strong-looking cowboy like Lefty here rides into town with his saddlebags full of gold. Seems like it's my chance to go to Louisiana myself. My golden opportunity.
I knew the minute I laid eyes on you that you was an angel, Miss Susanna.
Enough of this chit-chat. Come on, Lefty. Now, let's make like angels and fly away from the Cactus Juice Saloon together.
Okay, I'm right behind you, Miss Susanna.
Yeah, you're right behind me, all right. You're standing on my train. Get off! Get off!
I can't get off. My spurs is caught in the field. Wait, I need both my hands. Here, hold me down, Miss Susanna. I'll get on top.
All right. Okay, be careful. Be careful. You're gonna knock us both down. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. You got two left feet. You got 2 left feet.
Yeah, that's why they call me Lefty.
Don't you know you need to pay attention when you draw on someone, Susanna? I've got these guns now. Good work, Lacey. Quick thinking. Anything to help my favorite lawman, Sheriff Stoutheart.
Well, I always thought you'd make a great deputy.
You've always wished I was a deputy?
Yeah, that's right, Miss Lacey. Why, you drew the gun better than any deputy I've ever seen. And in shoulders like those, you could be the worst outlaw in town. Okay, Lefty and Susanna, take hold of that train and start going. You're under arrest.
Just my luck. Lefty didn't pay for his beer. And I'm going to have to find a new singer. And just like I say, not much ever changes here in Dusty Gulch.
Thank you. All right, throughout the performance, yeah, come on in, we got some chairs in front here. Thanks for coming out. Throughout the performance, we're going to be sharing something we've called observations. Shelby, I think we've got our first 2 observations.
Okay. Well, by the time you make ends meet, they move the ends. The study of economics reveals that the best time to buy anything is last year.
Thank you. Next, I want to introduce our storytelling quartet. Right here. A panel of narrators to help with this story. It's a story that takes a different look at neighbors. It's the real story of the 3 little pigs.
Well, everybody knows the story of the 3 little pigs. Or at least they think they do. But nobody has ever heard my side of the story. I am the wolf. Alexander T. Wolf. But you can call me Al.
No one knows just how this whole big bad wolf thing got started, but it's all wrong. Maybe it's because wolves eat cute animals, like bunnies and sheep and pigs. They just like that, and that's the way they are. If hamburgers were cute, folks would probably think people were big and bad too. But the whole big bad thing is all wrong. The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar.
So here's what you need to know. Way back and once upon a time, our friend the wolf was making a birthday cake for his dear old granny. He had a terrible sneezing cold, but he ran out of sugar. So he walked down the street to ask his neighbor for 1 cup of sugar. Now this neighbor was a pig, and he wasn't too bright either. He had just built his whole house out of straw. Can you believe it? Who in his right mind would build a house out of straw? So of course, the minute the wolf knocked on the door, the house fell right in. And he didn't want to walk into someone else's house, so he called.
Little pig, are you in?
No answer. He was just about to go home without his cup of sugar for his dear old granny's birthday cake, and that's when he felt his nose start to itch. He felt a sneeze coming on.
Well,
But he huffed and he snuffed. And he sneezed a great sneeze. And do you know what? That whole darn straw house fell down. And right in the middle of the pile of straw was the first little pig, dead as a doornail. He'd been home the entire time. It seemed like a shame to leave a perfectly good ham dinner lying there in the straw. I mean, who does that? So the wolf ate it up. Think of it as a big hamburger just lying there. He was feeling a little better, but he still didn't have his cup of sugar. So he went to the next neighbor's house.
Well, this neighbor was the first little pig's brother. He was a little smarter, but not too much smarter, because he had built his house of sticks. The wolf rang the bell on the stick house, but nobody answered. So he called,
Mr. Pig, are you in?
and the pig yelled back.
Go away, Wolf. You can't come in. I'm shaving the hairs of my chinny chin chin.
He had grabbed the doorknob when he felt another sneeze coming on.
He huffed and he snuffed.
He tried to cover his mouth, but he sneezed a great sneeze. And you're not going to believe it, but this pig's house fell down just like his brother's. And when the dust cleared, there was a second little pig dead as a doornail. Wolf's honor. Now, you know, food will spoil if you leave it out in the open. So the wolf did the only thing there was to do. He had dinner again. Think of it as a second helping. He was getting awfully full, but his cold was feeling a little better. Yet he still didn't have that cup of sugar for his dear old granny's birthday.
So the wolf went to the next house. This pig was the first and second little pig's sister. She must have been the brains of the family because her house was made out of bricks. The wolf knocked on the brick house, but no answer.
Miss Pig, are you in?
And do you know what that rude little porker said?
Get out of here, Wolf, don't bother me again.
Well, talk about impolite. What a pig. She probably had a whole sack of sugar and wouldn't even give the wolf one little cup for his dear old granny's birthday. So, well, the wolf was just about to go home and maybe make a nice birthday card instead of a cake when he felt a cold coming on.
And he huffed and he snuffed and he sneezed once again.
Then the third little pig yelled,
And your old granny can sit on a pin.
the wolf was usually a pretty calm fellow, but when he heard someone talk about his dear sweet old granny like that, he went a little crazy. So when the cops drove up, of course the wolf was trying to break down the pig's door. At the same time, he was huffing and snuffing and sneezing and making a real scene. The rest of the story, they say, is history. Well, shortly after that, the news reporters arrived because they heard about the wolf that ate 2 pigs for dinner. However, what they found was a sick wolf going around looking for a poor little cup of sugar. Well, that didn't sound very exciting, so they jazzed up the story with all this huff and puff stuff and blow your house down. And instead, they named him
The Big Bad Wolf.
And that's it. The real story.
Is it?
I was framed.
off your cell phones. I appreciate it. I'm sorry.
Okay. We invested heavily in audiovisual aids, so let's just back up a second here. All right, now we just had this one. The next one's coming up. But first, we have a couple more choice observations. Angela, I think you're up with these.
Okay. You know, sometimes I'm not the genius I like to think I am, and here's an example of that. I waited and stayed up all night long trying to figure out where the sun was, and then it dawned on me. I want to tell you something about America. Only in America do we buy hot dogs in packages of 10 and the buns in packages of 8. And I want to give you some advice. It's the last thing I'm going to say. I want to give you a word of advice, and this is very important. If you have to choose between two evils, pick the one you haven't tried before.
You can tell. And now a short story from Karen.
Hey, I recently heard a story about a minister who was trying to think of a way to add some oomph and emphasis to his Sunday sermon so it's not so dull. Well, after a while, he decided that a visual demonstration would be the way to go. So, here's what he did. He had 4 jars and 4 worms. So, he decided to put one worm in each jar. Well, the first jar was filled with tequila. The second jar was filled with cigarette smoke. The third jar was filled with nice chocolate syrup. But the fourth jar was filled with nice, clean soil. So, then at the conclusion of his sermon, the minister checked the jars and related the following results to his congregation. The first worm in the tequila had died. The second worm in the cigarette smoke also was dead. Well, the third worm in the chocolate syrup was also dead too. But the fourth worm in the good, healthy soil was alive. He was so excited, the minister looked at his congregation in earnest and asked him, "So what did you learn from my demonstration today?" All of a sudden, a little old lady in the back, he heard a voice and she said, "Well, I guess as long as you drink smoke and eat chocolate, you won't have any worms."
Some observations, please.
Hi, Nancy. Okay, folks, it's taken me a long time to see the white hair to figure this out. There is always one more imbecile than you counted on. Middle age is when the broadness of mind and the narrowness of the waist changes places.
Thank you, Beth. Now, come with us for a visit to Madame Zarina's Mystic Salon, where 3 troubled souls have come to commune with Zarina, knower of all things, seer of all sights, and solver of all problems.
Welcome, welcome each of you to Madame Zarina's Mystic Salon. We are gathered here this evening to find answers to the problems that are troubling you. I am Madame Zarina the Mystic. Tell me your names and what it is you're seeking.
My name is Roxanne, and I'm here for,
Speak up, Roxanne. Speak up. Don't be shy. You can trust Madame Zarina.
well, I was wondering if I will ever find someone I can be happy with. You know, everybody seems to have someone, and I'm getting no younger. If there is a man for me, can you help me find him, Zarina?
Good question. A good question, Roxanne. When Zarina goes into her trance, she will search for the answer.
Well, I hope you can help me, Zarina. I have so much to offer. Oh, I'd make a man very happy.
Yeah. Zarina will search, and perhaps she can make 2 people happy for the price of 1. Next introduction, please.
Hello, Madam Zarina. My name is Paul. I've come tonight to find out what I can do to win back the woman of my dreams.
This woman, Paul, did you have a fight with her?
No, not a fight. She just left me for another. She told me he makes her feel young again. I have a good job, and I could give her a comfortable life, but that's not enough for her.
Ah, Paul, matters of the heart are Madame Zarina's specialty. She will look deeply into this problem when she goes into a trance.
I hope you can help me, Mrs. Zarina. Help me win her back.
Oh, Paul, Zarina does not make such promises. She can only try to see the situation in the crystal ball and help you discover the direction that you must take. Next introduction, please.
I'm Fletcher. My problem is I've never had a peaceful moment. I'm constantly torn up with worry that I will lose what I treasure most in this world.
And Fletcher, what is it that you treasure? Is it your health, a loved one?
No, it's the trunk containing all my family's fortunes. I live in fear that I might lose this key that I wear around my neck.
Ooh, a fortune in a trunk. And you wear the key around your neck. Ooh. Why have you not put this fortune in a bank, Fletcher?
You know, I don't trust banks. When I leave my house, like now, I worry about someone finding my hiding place. What can I do?
Ooh, Fletcher, you must place every ounce of your trust in Madame Zarina. She will set your mind at ease.
Thank you, Madame Zarina. I knew I could count on you.
Ooh, now, let me turn the lights down low. Gaze closely into the crystal ball. You are all relaxing. Relaxing. The crystal is getting cloudy. The clouds are swirling and moving.
Yes, it's cloudy. I am relaxed. The clouds are swirling.
Oh, you're getting drowsy. Oh, powerful crystal ball. Help Roxanne to discover why she has never found the right man. She has beautiful, stunning grace and charm, and her beauty shines from within.
I'm getting drowsy. Grace, charm, yes, beauty from within.
Oh, Roxanne, I see it. You have set your sights much too high. You must set your sights lower and accept a mortal man. Stop looking for a knight in shining armor. Oh, you deserve someone, someone with a good job could make you comfortable. He may be closer than you think.
Yes, drowsy, closer than I think. Set my sights lower.
Someone whose hand you can hold when you're lonely.
Closer than I think.
Paul, you have come to Zarina because your heart is broken. You say the woman that you love prefers another. Ha! You have a good job and could make a woman comfortable. You deserve someone with grace and charm, someone whose beauty shines from within.
I'm so drowsy. The crystal is so cloudy. Yes, I deserve better. Beauty from within.
Oh, Paul, look deeply into the crystal ball, and you will find a woman whose hand is warm to touch. Someone who appreciates a good man for his qualities. See if there's a woman of grace and charm waiting for you.
Grace and charm.
Oh, Paul, close your eyes, concentrate. Zarina predicts that soon you will discover a real woman who can make a man happy.
Yes, look around you, Paul. She's close to you.
in the crystal. In the clouds, I think I see her. She seems so close yet so far away.
Oh, no, Paul, no, she's not far away. Look around you.
I see her. Why, it's Roxanne. Oh, there's beauty shining from within your eyes that I have seen in no other woman. Roxanne, would you be my wife?
Oh, Paul, I thought you'd never ask.
It is Serena's pleasure to help solve problems for me, of course. Now, Fletcher needs to find the peace of mind that only trusting another human being can bring.
Yes, Madam Zarina, you have such a soothing voice, one that invites trust. I only wish I could trust others as I'm beginning to trust you.
Oh, Fletcher, you can place all your trust in Madame Zarina. As long as that key remains around your neck, she will not let you out of her protection. Let us drift deeper into the clouds of the crystal.
I'm trying. So sleepy. My key is getting heavy.
Fletcher, that key that you wear is a burden, a constant reminder of the trunk you wish to protect. Now the key is getting heavier and heavier. Your neck is getting heavy with the weight of it. The first step to freedom is to take it off. Trust Madame Zarina to protect it.
Yes, it is getting heavy. Hold it for me for a moment, Miss Madame Zarina.
Ooh. Now, Fletcher, keeping the hiding place a burden is such a burden. You know, it tells Zarina where you keep that trunk, and your worries will drift away like the clouds in the crystal ball.
I'm finally so relaxed, Zarina. I am at ease for the first time in years.
Oh, no!
Maybe I'll just put that treasure into a bank and then I can stop worrying.
Oh,
I'm falling
no,
asleep now.
No,
Thank
not
you,
yet.
Zarina.
No, you can't fall asleep yet. Not until you tell me where to find that trunk. He's snoring. I overdid it again.
Observations. We can't stop ourselves now. Come on out. Karen.
Do you know what I recently learned? Artificial intelligence is no match for natural stupidity. And if you're brave enough, every zoo is a petting zoo. Did you know that? And the last statistic, do you know that no man was ever shot while he was doing the dishes?
All right, we've got even, yes, of course. It was brave to do that. And we've got even more narrators lined up for you for this next story. Yes, thank you. Budget. Right, we're going to justify the budget here. There we go. Here we go.
Once in a small mountain village, there lived two men who were very, very good friends. The one man's name was Pedro. The other, well, no one remembered his name. You see, no one ever called him by his name. Instead, they used his nickname.
Back when he was only 7 or 8 years old, everyone started to call him El Diablo, the devil, because he was so mischievous.
In school, it was a prank being played on a teacher. You could bet that Diablo thought the whole thing up. He would get all the other boys involved, and they'd all get caught and get into trouble. Some boys learned to stay away from Diablo, But not his good friend Pedro.
All the way through the grades and on through high school, Diablo kept dragging his friend Pedro into trouble. And even when they were grown men and should have known better, it was still happening. Diablo was leading Pedro astray.
For example, there was a time that Diablo said to his friend,
Pedro, have you noticed the apples on old man Martinez's tree? They look wonderful. Let's go steal some tonight. There's no moon, no one will see us.
Absolutely not. Old man Martinez has that big dog, he'll bite my leg off.
Don't worry about the dog, he keeps them inside at night. Come on, let's get some apples.
and he talked his friend into it. That night, the two friends got a big gunny sack, and they crept into old man Martinez's yard. They filled that sack with apples, and then they slipped back out onto the road.
We have to find some place to divide these apples.
Of course, Diablo had a great idea.
I know, we'll go to the Camposanto, to the graveyard. Nobody will bother us there.
So they went down the road until they came to the cemetery. They went in through the gate, and they walked along the low adobe wall that surrounded the graveyard until they found a dark, shadowy place right next to the wall.
They sat down and dumped out the apples and started to divide them into two piles. As they divided the apples into two piles, they whispered,
One for Pedro,
One for Diablo.
one for Pedro.
One for Diablo.
Now, it just so happened that a couple of men from the village had been out living it up that night, dancing and celebrating and drinking a little too much. In fact, they got so drunk that they couldn't make it home. They'd fallen asleep leaning against the wall right over there from where Pedro and Diablo were dividing up the apples.
One man was a big, round, fat fellow. The other was old and thin, with a face that was dry and withered looking.
A few minutes later, one man woke up. From the other side of the wall, over in the graveyard, he heard a voice saying, "One for Pedro, one for Diablo, one for Pedro."
The poor man's eyes popped out like two hard-boiled eggs.
Ay, Dio mio! Saint Peter and the devil are dividing up the souls.
He woke up his friend, and the two sat there staring, their mouths gaping wide open, too frightened to speak. The voice went on, "One for Pedro, one for Diablo, one for Pedro, one for Diablo."
Until finally Pedro and Diablo got to the bottom of the pile of apples. They heard the two men say,
Well, Pedro, that's all of them.
But Pedro happened to notice two more apples right next to the wall. One was nice and round and fat. The other wasn't so good. It was sort of withered up. They heard Pedro say,
No, Diablo, there's still two more. Don't you see those two right there next to the wall? The big fat one and the withered up one?
the hair stood up in the back of those men's necks. They thought they were the ones being talked about. They listened for what would be said next, and they heard Diablo say,
Well, Pedro, you can take the fat one, and I'll take the withered up one.
Oh, no, Diablo. Neither one of them's any good. You can take them both.
well, when the two men heard that, they thought the devil would be coming over the wall any minute to get them. They sobered up in a hurry, jumped to their feet, and ran home as fast as they could. They slammed the doors, and they locked them up tight.
and they say from that day on, those two men stayed home every night, and they never touched a drop of whiskey again.
All right. 3 more quick ones. Paulette?
Experience is a wonderful thing. It teaches you to recognize a mistake when you get to make it again. Balanced diet is a cookie in each hand. And my idea of a really good housekeeping is to sweep the room with a glance.
Our next story for you is about a husband and a wife. It's called A Tight Situation.
Honey, let me tell you what happened to me. Our neighbor's youngest son was getting married at an out-of-town Catholic church. And my husband Marv and I were invited, and we immediately rushed out to the local department store, and I bought a nice pink linen dress with a jacket and all those cute dyed-to-match accessories. Well, the dress was a little bit tight, but I had a month to go before the June 30th wedding, and I just knew I could lose a few pounds. Well, June 30th came, and of course I had not lost a single pound. In fact, I had gained 2. But I figured a nice new girdle would cure everything. I mean, that's what they do. So, on our way back out of the city, we stopped once again at the store. I ran in and I told the clerk that I needed a size large panty girdle. The clerk found the box with the described girdle marked large on the box and asked if I would like to try it on. Oh no, a large will fit just fine. I don't need to try it on.
Well, the next morning was one of those 90-degree days, so she waited to get dressed until about 45 minutes before it was time to go. She popped open the girdle box to find a brand new $49.95 pink satin panel girdle in a size small. Since it was a little too late to find another one, she got the dress on and put the girdle on, but unfortunately not too well. A fight broke out in the hotel room between her and that girdle.
So let me ask you a question. Have you ever tried to shake 20 pounds of potatoes into a 5-pound sack? Honey, Marv was laughing like crazy, and he finally just got a hold of each side of the girdle and shook me down into it. Well, once I was snug in the girdle, I put on all my nice pink accessories, which did not go very well with my purple face, but I was ready to go.
All the way to the church, her husband Marv kept asking,
Are you all right? You look funny.
oh my, men just don't appreciate what women go through to look good for them.
So as we eased into the pew at the church, Marv asked me if I was going to make it. He was really getting worried because I was breathing kind of funny. But I told him, it's okay, I'm fine. Since we're Southern Baptists and one of our wedding ceremonies takes 30 minutes or less, I assumed that the ceremony wouldn't last very long. So, seated in the pew with us were 2 sweet little old ladies who politely introduced themselves. Then one of them says, isn't this just lovely? We're having a high mass. Oh yes, lovely, I said. Then turned to Marv and asked, what's a high mass?
He shrugged his shoulders. Unfortunately, she learned that this particular high mass would last 1 hour, 22 minutes, and 8 1/2 seconds. The priest blessed everything except her girdle. So, over on the left side of the church, the bride's mother was crying, of course, and on her side, everyone was crying. One of the little old ladies elbowed the other and said, oh, look, isn't that sweet? She's so touched.
Let me tell you something. They were right. I have never been so touched in all my life. My ankles were swelling, my knees were blue, and honey, I had no feelings in my thighs at all. And so Marv was busy fanning me with my pink accessories, asking questions and trying to comfort me. Just as soon as the priest pronounced them married and the wedding party made their way to the back of the church to exit, I bolted in position like the 5th bridesmaid. And Marv was right behind me.
Are you okay? Can I help? Can you breathe?
Will you please just get me out of here?
So she hopped into the car, ran across the parking lot, jumped into their car. Right there before God, mankind, and the entire wedding party, she squeezed her bruised and battered body out of that girdle. Then, to her horror, just as she lifted her foot to pull the elastic torture chamber off of her body, the dumb girdle took flight and landed under the
Honey, Marv was laughing so hard, that man couldn't even bend over to try to retrieve it. And I was just too miserable to care. So we just drove away. And you know, over the years, I have often wondered what the parishioners of that fancy uptown church thought the next morning when they found it overly strict, $49.95, size small girdle in their parking lot.
Okay, last observations, that's it, Scout's honor.
All right.
Well, did you ever know that for every action and reaction, there's a government action? And bills travel through the mail much, much faster than checks ever do.
And for our last skit today, it is game show.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Fishing for Facts. I'm Garrett Grand, the host of the hottest game show that ever flooded across your television screens. Greetings, contestants.
Greetings, Garrett.
As your host, I'd like to welcome Mr. Austin Houston. Back with us again today. He is our reigning champion, and so far he has won a grand total of $4,200. You all remember that Austin owns a cattle ranch in northern Texas and is a lifelong student of the history of the American Southwest. Hey, Austin partner, are you ready to take on your two new challengers?
You bet your boots I'm ready, Garrett. Round them up and bring them on.
That's the good old cowboy spirit. Let's hear a great big welcome for Ms. Jane Wise and Ms. Trixie Dixon. First, Jane, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, that's a pleasure, my pleasure, Garrett. My parents were missionaries, and I was born in the Cantonese section of China. An insurrection forced us to return to the States, so I was raised in Chicago. I graduated from the University of Chicago with a master's degree in fine arts. I'm married to an accountant, I'm a librarian, and my hobbies include Ming Dynasty porcelain and playing the pan flutes.
Terrific, Jane, terrific. And our next contestant is Miss Trixie Dixon. Trixie, how about helping us get to know you?
Oh, gosh, I'll try. Let's see. Yeah, I was born and raised about 30 miles outside Pittsburgh, and I have to say that I'm still technically married, but my husband, the dirty rat, he cut out on me 25 years ago, and he left me with my sick mama to care for. So I did what any self-respecting girl would do, and I got a job, and I supported us as an exotic dancer, and I was darn good at it, too.
Does that mean you no longer dance, Trixie?
Oh, I had to retire from the dancing when I got the varicose veins in my legs. Now I own and operate a candy store and popcorn stand at Herb's Bowling Alley. And in my spare time, I take care of Mama and my little black mutt Gus. And I sew sequins on blouses for me and Mom and our girlfriends.
Oh, wonderful, Trixie, wonderful. And that's a lovely, glittering blouse you're wearing.
Thank you.
So, contestants, you know the rules for Fishing for Facts. The one with the right answer gets to fish. You drop the hook into the well of wisdom, and I will read the question printed on the fish you catch. It's $100 for every correct answer.
Oh, goody, I'd have to sell 100 bags of popcorn to make that much money.
Try to contain yourself, Trixie. Now, contestants, remember, there is a shark in that water, and whoever pulls the shark out gets to claim any other contestant's winnings. So, good luck. Okay, now our champion goes first. Are you ready, Austin?
Yes, sirree. Just give me that pole, Garrett. It may not be a six-shooter, but I'm raring to go.
Okay, let's watch our champion drop his hook into the well, and he's caught a fish already. Okay, contestants, for $100, I will read the question from Austin's fish. What is the capital of the state of Washington? There's the bell. Trixie rang in first. Trixie, do you have an answer?
Is it Washington, D.C.?
Sorry, Trixie. Yeah, that's wrong. Jane, you rang in too.
Certainly I rang. Anybody knows the capital of the state of Washington is Olympia?
Okay, Jane, you're on the board with $100, and it's your turn to fish. There she goes, and she's caught one. The question on Jane's fish is, after the siege in 1836, the Mexicans captured a mission in what U.S. city?
I got it. It's San Antonio, Texas. It was the Alamo.
Right you are, Austin, bringing your total to $4,300. Austin, fish again. And he's caught one. The question is, what English poet wrote in 1667 about Satan's rebellion against God?
These questions are so easy. It was John Milton, and the work was Paradise Lost.
Right you are, literary lady, for another $100.
Smart aleck, just because you knew two answers.
That's $200 for Jane, and she gets to fish again. Okay, she caught one. And her question is, name the highly developed civilization that existed in Central America when the New World was explored by Europeans.
I guess I'll take a stab in the dark. May I?
Trixie, did you say Maya?
I guess I did.
Unbelievable, Trixie! The Maya civilization is right. That puts you on the board with $100.
Oh, yippee! Maya fish now?
You certainly Maya. Trixie is fishing, and she's caught one. The question on her fish is, what branch of the government is responsible for preventing counterfeit U.S. currency as well as protecting the president?
Is it the Marines?
Oh my
I'm
God.
afraid not, Trixie. Jane, you rang in with a close second.
God. Yeah, it's the Secret Service.
All right, it's the Secret Service. That's $300 for you, and it's your turn to fish again.
Okay.
And you've got one. All right, the question is, what express mail route was extremely hazardous to the carriers and lasted roughly only a year and a half?
Hey, that's my kind of question. It was the Pony Express.
Right you are again, Austin, for a total of $4,400. Austin, drop your hook in again. And your question is, what material exists in all living cells and is enclosed by the plasma membrane?
The material is protoplasm.
Good work, brainy lady. You're on a roll for $400. Jane, drop in your hook. And your question is, the 46th state of the Union is bounded by the Red River on the south, the Ozark Mountains in the northeast, and...
I got it. It's Oklahoma. Oh, I love these Southwest questions.
You sure do know your regional facts, Austin. You're up to $4,500. Now, fish again. Okay, your question is, the earliest library known to man was a collection of clay tablets found where?
I can answer these questions in my sleep. The library of clay tablets was found in Babylonia in the 21st century BC. Well, this just ain't fair. These questions don't ask anything I know. There aren't too many questions about popcorn, Trixie.
Trixie, just be patient and keep trying. Okay, Jane, you're up to $500, and I see you have your next fish.
Yay.
The question is, what class of animals breathe through gills, have jointed appendages, and horny outer skeletons? Their blood is colorless and...
Crustaceans.
Darn it, what the heck is a crustacean? That sounds like some kind of tiger to me.
It would.
Moving right along, it's Jane's turn again. She's
Okay,
fishing,
here we
and
go.
she's caught another fish. And the question is, what armored mammal rolls into a ball when it is attacked?
Oh, I know it. It rolls into a ball. Is it a bald eagle?
Sorry again, Trixie, that was a good try, but a bald eagle is not a mammal, it's a bird. Austin, you also rang. Do you have an answer?
Sure, shooting I do. That animal's from my neck of the woods, and it's an armadillo.
Okay, Austin, you're stacking up those points with $4,600 so far. Austin, drop in your hook again. And your question is, what is the word that means a connected series or the order of succession? There's the bell. Trixie rang in first. Trixie, do you have an answer?
Yeah, I think so. Let me see. It's something that's connected like beads on a string. Oh, I got it, it's sequence.
Trixie, did you say the word sequence?
No, I guess I did. Yeah, that must be it, sequence. No.
This is incredible. I don't believe it. Trixie Dixon does not give up easily. Okay, Trixie, it's your turn to fish. Trixie drops in her hook and stirs up the fish. She pulls out her hook and, this is unbelievable, she caught the shark!
I caught the shark!
Catching the shark means that Trixie can take away Austin's $4,600. Only twice before in the history of Fishing for Facts has a contestant who's been bringing up the rear been able to claim such a huge pot from a champion. Trixie, what do you say about this turn of events?
My mama will be so proud.
And Austin, do you have anything you'd like to say to Trixie?
Hell and damnation, I'll take it like a man. Congratulations, Trixie. I'm just glad I got my cattle and my oil money to fall back on.
I'd like to say something at the risk of sounding like a poor sport. Trixie, you are beyond a doubt the dumbest contestant. You could fall into that well of wisdom and come up bone dry. A shark could bite off your head, and all they would get, the poor little shark with empty calories. How could anyone as dumb as you?
Security! Security! Oh, that's all the time we have this week on Fishing for Facts. Ladies and gentlemen, the cast.
Paulette, Angela,
Karen, Joyce,
Nancy.
Beverly.
Jeffrey.
Michelle.
Bill.
Thank you.
Thank you all for coming.
Would you like your girdle back?
Thank you, everybody. We hope that you enjoyed our performance from these talented individuals. And thank you so much for coming to the Tempe Public Library. We appreciate it, and we'll see you next time. I gave you evaluation forms, please fill those out. The library, the board really appreciate it and would love to know your feedback. Once you figure it out, you can just leave it on the table, on the side of the room.